Hey, Shalom, it's Sister Kate here. The end of a prep day, and I've been doing all sorts of things all day long, but I've been thinking about this video for a couple of days. I was watching a series on, it's called Mr. Sunshine, and it's on Netflix, which I know some of you are all woke about. I'm not defending the company, but I like watching movies and series. And Mr. Sunshine is about Korea in the 1870s, which I knew nothing about. And it opens with Teddy Roosevelt telling, some of his Marine captains and majors to go to, they're calling it Joseon. It ends up being Korea, and to try to establish diplomatic relations. And so they send 5 battleships into the harbor outside of their capital and send an envoy into the emperor, I think his name was Gojong, and tell him, we're the Americans, we want to make diplomatic ties with you. And the Koreans say, no, you hairy barbarians, we don't want anything to do with you. And so the Americans decide to bombard their town, killed about 300 soldiers and civilians, sent more envoys. Fast forward a couple of years, now we have a legation there, an embassy there, as well as the Russians and the Chinese and the Japanese. And the Japanese were trying very hard to exert influence on the Koreans at that time, and there's a whole political thing, and the Sino-Russian War, 1905, etc. However, the reason for my video today has nothing to do with that particular. I just find that interesting. It has to do with 2 tools that they showed on that video that I own. And someone recently talked to me about this one, which is called a comma. I've already done a video on it. It's a lightweight, short-handled chopper. And I did a video on cutting down my favorite bad weed with this thing. It works great. You can use it either handed in either direction and cut short stuff down. Someone in the movie, one of the slaves of a noblewoman, this is his main tool, and he's running around with it in his robe. He goes in to talk to the American acting counselor, and he's going to threaten him in a kind of joking way. And he pulls it out and he says, if you mess with her, my noblewoman, I'll cut your throat. And I thought, I have that tool. And this is the tool that a brother recently said all the shofarians should have, because it's very effective. And if there's no electricity or power and you want to cut down weeds, this guy is a very good tool to do it with. So that's number 1, the comma. And then later on in the series, it's very exciting. There's a group of rebels, guerrillas, and they call themselves a certain name, and they have passwords and safe houses. And one of the people on their side is a blacksmith. And so they introduce this blacksmith. A rebel guy is bringing him an American rifle that they stole because they're using, I think they said matchlocks or flintlocks at the time. And so he's bringing this new rifle for this blacksmith to take apart, study, and put back together and maybe recreate. And they showed him at his blacksmith forge working on one of these. It's called a homie, and I've done a video on this as well. It is a really good gardening tool. It has 3 edges on it, here, here, and there. And according to a YouTube video that talks about the homies and how they're made, over 1,000 strikes have been done on each one of these tools. And in the series, here's the blacksmith working away, and someone says, are you working on a sword or something like that? And he's like, no, one of these hoes. There's a big demand for these right now for whatever reason, so I'm turning them out. And they show a whole row of them behind him. And I thought, another tool I have that was recommended to me by, or I think actually bought from me by Solar Tim, who does a lot of gardening himself. And it really is a superior tool to our little spade. I should have brought one in here, but I'm talking about, the little spade, short handle that all the stores sell. It's actually really hard using that thing for a long time and in hard soil, where this guy just whoop, and it does a great job. So here they are now, internet famous, YouTube famous, world famous, the comma and the homie. excellent off-grid tools, excellent if every, no power tools to use with your gardening. All right, I'm gonna head out of here. Shabbat's coming, yay! Shalom, y'all. Go get you some.